In this lesson, we are going to start looking at analyzing the data. So we will look at determining median and quartiles, and also how to draw a visual representation of that data in a box and whisker plot. So here we have a set of data, and we want to determine the median of the data and the quartiles. So the quartiles are dividing the data set into 4 equal groups with the same number of values in each group. So think of quarter as 4. So you're dividing the data into 4 equal groups of data with the same number of values in each group. So the first thing we do is we want to find the median, and we want to put them in order. So this set of data is not in order. So I'm going to start with the smallest number, and then we have 2 4s, we have a 5, we have a 6, a 7, and an 8. So we'll arrange them in order from smallest to largest. The middle number is the median. So 5 would be the middle number. I can see that I have 3 numbers to the left, and I have 3 numbers to the right. So the median is 5. And then the 3 numbers to left, I want the middle of those numbers. Let's do this in green. So this is the middle of the 3 numbers to the left, and this is the middle of the 3 numbers to the right. So this number is the lower quartile, and this number is the upper quartile. So the lower quartile is 4, and the upper quartile is 7. And then I can see on the lower quartile I have 1 number on each side, and the upper quartile I have 1 number on each side. If the data set is not in order, you would put in order. In example 2, I see that they are arranged in order from smallest to largest, so that saves me a bit of work. I don't have to put them in order. So let's count how many numbers there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 numbers. So if there's an even number, we might have to average to find the middle. So the middle would be these 2 numbers here, 5 and 6. I can see I have 4 numbers to the left, and I have 4 numbers to the right. So what I do here is I average the 2 numbers to get the middle, which is the median. So if you don't have an exact middle number, you're going to average the 2 that are in the middle. The lower quartiles, same thing is going to happen. To the left I have 4 numbers, so the middle would be these 2. So I'm going to average those, which is 3. So the lower quartile will be 3. And then to the right we have these 2 numbers in the middle of those 4 numbers. So the upper quartile would be the average of 7 and 8, which will be 7.5. So if there are 2 numbers that are in the middle or in the lower quartile or upper quartile, you're going to average them together. Okay, how do we draw that then into a box and whisker plot? A box and whisker plot is a visual tool that is used to display the median and the lower and upper quartiles and the lower and upper extremes. So the lower and upper extremes, we haven't talked about those. Those are the biggest, smallest value and the biggest value. So here we have a data set. We have some basketball players, and we have recorded their points over the last 7 games. So we have 7 players, and then the points that I think this is 1 player and 7 games. Okay, so we want to number set. The smallest value was 5, the biggest was 32, and I'm just organize the data from least to greatest. So looking at them and arrange them in between. So there's my 7 numbers. The upper and lower extremes. So the lower extreme is 5. That's the smallest value. The upper extreme is 32. That's the largest value. Now we want to find the median. So since there are 7 numbers, we would have an exact middle. Let's do this in blue. So 17 would be the median. There are 3 numbers to the left and 3 numbers to the right. So the median is 17. Then we want to Quartiles. So let's do these in yellow. So to the left of 17, the middle number is 10. That is the, let's just use LQ for the lower quartile. And to the right, there are 3 numbers, the middle number being 20, which is the upper quartile. By the upper and lower quartile. So here's what I have. I have arranged my, so let's put the lower quartile was 10 and the upper quartile was 20. So here is the information. The upper and lower extreme are 32 and 5. The middle was, or the median was 17. The upper was 20 and the lower was 10. So what I do is I draw a number line that fits this data set. So the smallest number is 5 and the biggest number is 32. So on my number line here, I plotted from 5 to 35. So I'm going by 5s. So remember, when you're doing a number line, you want to go by a consistent increment. So since the smallest number is 5 and the bigger was 32, I just decided to go from 5 to 35, and I divided into increments of 5. So we're going to plot these points onto this number line. So the smallest or lower extreme is 5. The upper extreme is 32. So I'm going to approximate where that is. So that's about there. Then I'm going to draw the median, which was at 17, which is approximately here. And then I'm going to put in the upper quartile, which is 20, and the lower quartile, which is 10. And then we're going to draw our box. So our box contains our lower quartile to our upper quartile, and then we draw a line at the median. So this is our box. The whisker part is the line between the lower quartile and the lower extreme, and the upper quartile and the upper extreme. So this is what my box and whisker looks like. Here's a better picture. So this is a better representation. So you can see the lower quartile was at 5, the upper is at 32, the median is at 17, the lower quartile is at 10, the upper is at 20. The box contains 50% of the data. So the central box contains half the data, and it's a good visual representation to see where most of the data is. So most of the data is between 10 and 20. The bottom whisker contains 25% of the data, and the upper whisker contains the other 25% of the data. So the first whisker contains the lower 25, the box contains the middle 50, and the upper whisker contains 25% of the data. So that means 25% of the scores were between 5 and 10, 50% of the scores were between 10 and 20, and 25% of the scores, so let's just write this in here, so 25% there, 50% is the box, and then 25% is between 20 and 32.